So this is actually happening. Guys, it's fight week. Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. And who do you got? This fight is a very interesting one because it's not so much Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, because we know that a young Mike Tyson would most likely destroy Jake Paul. It's Mike Tyson versus Father Time. But yet, don't get me wrong, a lot of people out there are always criticizing and bad-mouthing Jake Paul. Yet I'm not a hater. I can tell you that Jake Paul is legit. So believe it or not, Jake Paul is a legitimate fighter. I mean, facts are facts. I mean, he beat Tyrone Woodley. He knocked down Anderson the Spider Silva, who can box. I mean, Anderson Silva is a legit fighter. The one thing we can all agree about with Jake Paul is that he has been on the big stage, he knows how to deal with pressure, and he shows up to fight. In his last outing, he looked super impressive against Platinum Mike Perry, and Mike Perry was the bare knuckle champion, and Jake Paul didn't even flinch. And of course, people do point to his only loss versus Tommy Fury, who's the brother of the heavyweight champion. But did Jake Paul really look that bad in that fight? In fact, I thought he was coming on strong in the later rounds, and he might probably be favored to win a rematch. So, all in all, we can agree that Jake Paul is a legitimate fighter. And for sure, people still think of him as that guy that was dancing around in his first couple of YouTube videos. But it looks like he's come a long way since then. The only problem for Jake is that in this fight, he's facing Iron Mike Tyson, who's a completely different animal. Let's face it, Mike Tyson is just built different. That's why this fight is so interesting to me. There's just such a generational gap because all of you younger guys know Jake Paul, and some of you think that you know Mike Tyson, but you really don't. And that's because the highlights that you guys see on YouTube honestly just don't do it justice. I often talk to younger guys and they just don't understand. And some of them even ask me, well, who did Tyson beat really? Who did he really beat? And could he really beat today's fighters like Fury, Wilder, or AJ? And I'm like, I don't know. But Tyson was really something special. He was an athlete who transcended the sport. I mean, I'm about 50 years old, and you can walk up to somebody who's my age and just say 007-373-5963, and they're gonna know exactly what you're talking about. And my generation knew that during a Tyson fight, there's no way you can get up and go to the bathroom. You could not go for a snack because it could be over just like that. He was that ferocious. And when I was younger, being a fighter myself, I studied Mike Tyson a lot because we were both about 5'11" and 220. But Mike Tyson, again, is just a completely different animal. I mean, he's almost superhuman. And I say that because most people don't realize that he was usually the smaller guy. He was the David in a world of Goliaths. He was Achilles. He was the guy who had the speed and the skill, not the size, to beat these huge big guys. And look back on his fights and you'll notice that he doesn't really get hit. People think he's just going in there wildly punching, but his skill level is so good that the other guys couldn't even really touch him. And you don't often see a guy that gives up 5, 6, 7 inches in height and immediately go in there for the kill like Iron Mike did. And even though he's close to 60, Mike is still a physical specimen. Have you seen any of his recent training videos? Jake Paul's a brave man because I wouldn't want to stand there in front of him. And in Mike's last outing versus Roy Jones, he still looked phenomenal. Yet there's also another reason why older guys like me from his generation want to see him win. Also, a bit about redemption. Mike Tyson in his life has been through a lot. During Mike's boxing career, it wasn't so much that the other fighters beat Mike, but it was usually Tyson that beat himself. So to see him now in a place of contentment, where he's able to put everything back together and step in the ring against a man who's, let's face it, half of his age, well, I've really got to root for that. And so you guys, the younger generation, are used to seeing this current version of Mike, the teddy bear version from The Hangover and whatnot. But us older guys know that that version that fought Marvis Frazier or Michael Spinks is still in there somewhere. and we're hoping to see that lion come out this Friday night. And like all of you, I've been following all of the social media videos and the hype, and so many people are criticizing this fight, saying that it shouldn't happen because of Mike's age. He's too old, there's no way he should be in there. There's no way he's gonna go 10 rounds. But then I ask myself, do they even know who they're talking about? When did anybody ever expect a Tyson fight to go 10 rounds? When did anybody ever even think it would go past the first round? And so this Friday night, I don't think there's anything that Jake Paul can do, even though he's playing a very good bad guy for this fight. I don't think there's anything that he can do that's gonna scare Mike or intimidate Mike or make Mike feel nervous about fighting. There's nothing that Jake Paul can do that Mike Tyson hasn't seen or done before. But this Friday, Jake Paul has never been in the ring with anybody like Mike Tyson. Finally, let me tell you younger guys something that us older guys all know. You never know what's gonna happen in a Mike Tyson fight. So I'm definitely tuning in this Friday. Let me know in the comments below who you got. Enjoy the fight, guys.